Luke chapter 21, verses 1 through 4 say, as Jesus looked up, he saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in two very small copper coins. Truly, I tell you, he said, this poor widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave their gifts out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in all she had to live on. I will never forget sitting in the pew of one of the bigger churches in Kansas City, Missouri, when I lived there. It was a Sunday morning, and my seminary class had been participating in an urban immersion weekend. We had been going to all of these different churches and really just experiencing the way that they worshiped throughout the weekend. And so the church that we attended was known for their outreach within the community. Like I said, it was a pretty large church in downtown Kansas City. And we go to this church and we're sitting there and it's time for offering. It's time for the people to give. And as I look around the room, I can see that this church is comprised of a very large demographic of people. You have very, very wealthy people in this church. And then you have people who are literally homeless. They slept in the pews that we were sitting in that morning, the night before. And it was so crazy to see the dynamics of this church. But time came for offering, and the pastor said something along the lines of bringing what you have to the Lord. It's not about what you give, it's about the heart behind why you give. And I remember sitting there and having these tears come to my eyes as I watched the wealthy dig into their purses and their wallets. And I watched these homeless men and women literally pulling coins out of their pockets, dollar bills that were wadded up out of their shoes. They had brought in cans, like bags of aluminum cans or glass bottles. Some were even bringing items of clothing like gloves or socks, and they laid them on the table where their offering buckets were. And that was what they gave that morning. I literally watched them giving what they had. For many, they had nothing, but they gave what they did have. And that is this story. That's what I see here. I'm reminded of that day back in Kansas City 15 years ago. It wasn't what she gave, it wasn't what the widow gave, it was the heart by which she gave. What is the heart behind why you give? What is the heart behind why you serve? Are you giving out of a love for God, or are you giving out of an obligation?